right now we are on our panel discussion. Well, we just had Sasha give a brilliant keynote, and right now on our panel discussion, it's going to be about what will be the tipping point for crypto going mainstream. We're looking at can digital currencies birth the next generation of world-class payment systems? We're looking at, is Bitcoin the new safe haven? Will DeFi craze wear out? And also, what is going to be the tipping point for crypto going mainstream? Ladies and gentlemen, joining us as our speakers and our panelists. First up, we've got Salbego, the CEO of AnRKey X. Well, Salbego is a highly
AnRKey X.
respected. Sorry?
AnRKey X.
AnRKey X. Thank you so much. Salbego is a highly respected global leader, as you can see on your stage and screen, in DeFi, blockchain, and crypto assets, with a history of working with industry-leading startups, crypto funds, institutions, and government. He's somebody with his platform, which is going to be a cutting-edge DeFi-based gaming and an NFT platform protocol. Well, ladies and gentlemen, also as our next panelist, we're joined by Vays, the crypto influencer, derivatives trader, and a consultant. Well, Tone has worked on the Wall Street for almost 10 years, starting as a risk consultant analyst and at Bear Stearns, and later became a VP at JP Chase in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. His expertise is in economic trends, trading, and risk analysis. Also joining us as our next panelist is Justas Pikelis, the co-founder of Monetha. Justas is an entrepreneur, a co-founder of Monetha, a blockchain reputation platform which has raised 37 million USD in 18 minutes with their ICO. Justas is elected to Forbes 30 Under 30, nominated for the Innovator of the Year by Euronews, and an influential voice in the blockchain and cryptocurrency industry. Ladies and gentlemen, also joining us is the CEO of ZebPa, Rahul Pagidipati, who is the CEO of ZebPa, which is India's oldest and most widely used Bitcoin and crypto asset exchange, and also is the managing director of Aeon Capital, wherein he guides research and investment. Well, Rahul's long-term vision is to build ZebPa into a social enterprise like Bitcoin itself, to fight poverty and inequality and bring opportunity and financial inclusion to millions. And ladies and gentlemen, this entire panel discussion is going to be moderated by Ceclia, Wong, the founder of YourPRstrategist. While beginning her communications career in fashion and beauty industries, Cecilia's passion for decentralized technologies led her to the founding of the boutique blockchain PR consultancy, which is YourPRstrategist, a 2020 Technology Innovator Award winner in the media and PR categories. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with this, we bring to your stage and screen the eminent set of panelists. If you may have any questions for our panelists, do type it in the Q&A tab, and I'll ensure that it reaches to our moderator, Cecilia, to take it forward with her incredible panel. Well, with this, I pass it on to you to take it forward. Thank you. Ms. Wong.
Thank you so much, Bhavana, for the great introductions as usual. I'm Cecilia from YourPRstrategist. Happy to be moderating the awesome panel today. You're going to be in for a treat. Our topic today, what will be the tipping points for crypto going mainstream, is certainly timely. And when we say mainstream, we're not talking about hundreds or thousands or even millions. We're talking about adoption numbers in the vicinity of hundreds of millions or even billions. To start off, let's take a look at the current landscape of digitalization in finance. As we all know, digital currencies have been a bridge to cryptocurrencies. Let's hear first from Rahul, CEO of ZebPa. Please give us a lowdown on the trends happening in the global payment systems.
Great. Thanks for having us. Yeah, I'll give a quick background on ZebPa. So we're India's biggest Bitcoin exchange. So a lot of the data that we're looking at is in India. We do have a couple of operations in other countries, but hey, it's hard competing against the big boys like Binance and Coinbase. But basically in India, we've grown a ton. We've had over 3.5 million users, and every day we're getting several thousand new signups with very little marketing. We're not we're not really out there on the, buy Bitcoin on billboards or train stops and stuff like that. But like you said, we haven't really seen the 2017 run up. So, coming up and hitting this new all-time high of Bitcoin, it feels different this time. It feels we're much earlier in the cycle. I don't think we're anywhere near the hype that we hit in 2017. So
Okay.
we've seen lots of new signups, but it's consistent. It's more slowly growing up.
Right. Justas, do you want to give us your input on what you see happening right now on the global payment systems?
Sure. When it comes to cryptocurrencies, it's unfortunate, but still, up to now, there's not a lot of big demand to pay in cryptocurrencies, both for merchants to accept them for obvious reasons, the volatility, and for the users because still the adoption of the wallets, the adoption of holding crypto is not as prominent as we thought, for example, whereas with Monetha, we started as a payment gateway. So our thought, because we were all three co-founders, prominent users of cryptocurrencies, and we thought, we're going to solve our problem. We're going to install these gateways into e-commerce stores, whereas we could pay with crypto. But it turned out quite obvious right now in hindsight. But it turned out that people want to hold crypto and they want to speculate crypto rather than to pay with crypto. Of course, I guess we still have some time to figure out what's going to happen, especially with players like PayPal coming in. But then again, it's a little bit of a different situation, whereas PayPal does not really let you pay with cryptocurrencies. Just then, they hold an underlying asset, but you generally just trade price. So it's unfortunate, I would say, because people can take matters into their own hands, and merchants can just eliminate the middleman. But we'll see how this turns out.
It's true that I think most people in the who invest in cryptocurrencies, they just want to hold on to like Bitcoin, to Ethereum, even for for
yes, and I
store
think
of value, and it's totally become that way. But there are actually some cryptocurrencies that are specifically made to deal with instant payments. Like Dash Pay, for example. I suppose they have been really pushing for Dash digital cash. Cash that you could just go into a cafe, buy coffee with it or whatever. So in that respect, there are several, I suppose, cryptocurrencies that are specially focused on user type of the utility of being used as digital cash, I suppose. Tone, would you like to jump in on this to give us your thoughts on this?
Sure. We're living in a culture where everyone wants something right now. Actually, they wanted it yesterday. Bitcoin is the fastest technology being adopted in history. Bitcoin is being adopted faster than the internet was. It's being adopted faster than cell phones were. And when I say crypto, I specifically mean Bitcoin. If people didn't create and promote scam coins, and scam coins is any coin other than Bitcoin, we would be so much further along with the adoption. If the majority of the people basically just want to print their own money and get merchants to accept that money. And when you get a merchant to accept something like Dash Pay or Bcash or anything other than Bitcoin, what you're doing is you're ruining that merchant's future for their respect for Bitcoin, for it to actually be adopted. Also, because of what Bitcoin is, it's not a startup. You can't move fast and break things. There are now hundreds of billions of dollars in it. There are corporations that have invested almost $1 billion into it. So trying to do something really quick and ruining Bitcoin's underlying importance, which is unconfiscatability censorship-resistant value transfer, and the fact that it's hard money is just significantly more important. And the rest of these things, they're not as important. You don't need instant payments. You don't need an incredibly cheap payment. You don't need an incredibly fast payment. Bitcoin will have all that, but you got to give the smartest people, smartest developers time to make all that technology very, very safe and easy to use. And no one is patient in the space, and that's why they just create their own money and try to push it onto the consumer, which is significantly slowing down adoption, not increasing it.
Wow, very strong words tone. Okay. What about JD? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's a very it's a topic we've been talking about now for 5 years. I think when we hit mass adoption, you know, and all this stuff, it's all going to be about scalability, the technology advancing as far as the UX and everything as well. You know, Ripple still is very fast, but 60,000 transactions a second, so that's really great. You know, across other protocols that do offer a lot of benefit, right? Like where Ripple's payment, you have other protocols for supply chain, all these other different things that aren't as advanced in the scalability. And then also the user friendliness and intuitive of dealing with wallets. I mean, you know, I've been doing it for years now. It's what I was doing right now while you guys were talking was dealing with my this little thing, right? That's how you protect your money. You know what I'm saying? And you got to do all these little things, right? And we're not even talking about now the DeFi world. Now we're talking about trying to use a DEX, right? Or go on Uniswap or any of those. That is like absolutely like the worst experience ever. You know, I just launched a new company about 2.5 months ago, and we do gamified liquidity mining. And to be honest, I've probably farmed twice in my life. You know why? Because it's absolutely horrible. And we have a fund that we all use to do our farming for us because it's obnoxious. It's scary for users. It's still, you know what I mean? So until we reach all these other points, it's just not there. But there is one thing we actually have hit mass adoption on in the industry, and that is trading, right? Trading assets, crypto assets actually has reached potentially pretty much mass adoption. That's the only use case. Blockchain has really been completely scaled up and used. So hopefully we get the rest of them at that level, you know. But yeah, it's going to go on for a while. Let's see what layer 2 is going to be with Ethereum and every other protocol that's been talking about it and raising money on it for years now. The next scalability, sharding, all this stuff that everyone's been talking about for years. You know, oh, hey, bless you. On that note,
bless you.
Yeah, I'm done there.
Now, I'll make it quick. So at least within our data, and I can share some data from our exchange. We're kind of seeing a little bit what Tony says, that every coin on our exchange, you know, we're in India, so we're in a growing market where people are growing. Every coin that we custody has gone up other than Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's gone down. And so what's really cool is that people do understand, and if you can go see data on this, a lot of exchanges, their Bitcoin balances are going down. In fact, that's what I'm saying, it's different this time, is that in the old days, in that last run up in 2017, people were depositing Bitcoin to sell into the bull run. During this melt up, our Bitcoin balances are slowly going down. So our fiat balances are going up. People are putting our fiat into the exchange to buy Bitcoin, while the amount of Bitcoin that's available to sell is going down. And I don't know when the point is, but there's going to be a spike there, and there's going to be like, you know, 1 million Bitcoin that's available to be bought on exchanges, versus back in the old days it's like 5 million. So, well, I mean, and yeah, the other coins are more a little bit used more for payments, but people are holding their Bitcoin and they're taking it off exchange. That's the point.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that Bitcoin is definitely the most valued cryptocurrency in the space. But whether or not the other cryptocurrencies are you know, I mean, I'm addressing this at tone, you know, because you're saying that the other cryptocurrencies are kind of like in the way of you know, getting Bitcoin, you know, the adoption of Bitcoin, all that. I do see your point to a certain extent, but it's like, if you don't have all these other choices, for people and all these other use cases for people, it's kind of, I suppose, like limiting options for.
Well, actually, it's not. It's not limiting options, because what we're talking about is a standard. We're talking about a way to rid of the political nature of money. We're talking about a way to get rid of control of money.
No, I agree with that.
And all of these other coins, they're not decentralized. They're not decentralized at all. The reason why Ripple can do whatever 1,000 transactions a second is because they're more centralized than PayPal and any other payment system. That's how they're able to do it. No one uses these things for anything. The only company that's using Ripple is Ripple. And the only reason they're using it is because they created this token that doesn't need to exist, and they got to find a way to bullshit their way into its actual usage. Otherwise, they get in a lot of legal trouble and a lot of other stuff. So they're completely inefficient. They're not decentralized, and there's no reason for them to exist. And it's not really limiting people's choices when you have a standard. It's kind of like saying that if every single cell phone, a different type of cell phone, came with their own proprietary charger, something that Apple still hasn't learned, and that is limiting your choice because by making your life a living hell, because people don't have the same charger to a cell phone. You can have a different cell phone, you can use different wallets, but we are talking about standards, and it's not just limiting Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin will be fine. Bitcoin is not a company. Bitcoin is a decentralized protocol. It's just putting people in bad economic positions and bad financial positions by investing in these things that shouldn't even exist, but they're buying into it with the only use case being trading, which is not really an economic use case.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Like there are so many scam coins that shouldn't have been in the space at all. I totally agree with that. But I mean, there are lots of other very, I would say, useful types of cryptocurrencies that have utility within. I mean, I see many of these in the space where, for example, right now,
I can do a quick example. So we use so in India, Tony, and this I 51% agree with Tony, 49% disagree. But here's like absolute positive. We love Bitcoin. Bitcoin's our main coin, and we promote it. But there are some people who want. This is just in case we're wrong. We have we don't have many coins on ZebPa, other exchanges. We have, I think, about 12, right? And they're the big ones. But the coin that I was going to mention to Tony is we have PAXG, which is like a digital gold. It's a decentralized way of owning gold in India, and it's cool because you're not going to fly to New York and go to the custodian and claim your 10 rupees of gold. But basically, what this happens, it gives someone the ability to own 100 rupees of gold, and it's custodied through some sort of third party, right? And it's very hard to buy that. You don't pay any extra, custodial fees or administrative fees. And there's not a ton of demand for this. We have maybe about less than $1 million of total assets that we hold of that PAXG. But there are some use cases. But I agree with everyone. Pretty much everyone. We haven't really figured this out yet. We're still very early in this technology, and I believe Bitcoin does win, right? And so that should be the number one thing that people think about.
What do you think, Justas?
Yeah, I think that we go back to these cycles. Every year, I would say, has a theme, right? And let's say the theme of 2020, maybe a little bit 2019 has been DeFi. But the thing is that through these cycles, these small bubbles, small cycles, for example, with what happened in 2017, 2018 with ICOs, the Bitcoin cycle is relatively stable. Because as of this moment, we can say that pretty bravely that Bitcoin has found its market fit. It's still maybe a little bit too early to state that with full confidence, but we are seeing that the corporations are understanding, as Michael Saylor says, the melting ice principle, where they're sitting on a lot of cash because they have accumulated that cash and because they're not looking for or seeing any ways how they could innovate. That cash just stays there, but the inflation eats it up. And Bitcoin can actually hedge that, and not only hedge that, but could give you extraordinary returns, as historical charts say. So whereas other cryptocurrencies and other blockchains, yes, they have a very beautiful promise, but still there is not that much of substance and not that much of voting with real things, not with trading and speculation, but with real usage. For anyone to say that there's any other blockchain that could be competitive with Bitcoin's actual utility. And I totally understand what Tone says by saying that we all of this intellectual capital that is being quote unquote drained into other blockchains could focus on Bitcoin. And yes, and hypothetically, that would increase Bitcoin's scalability, that would increase Bitcoin's development cycle. But I think it's just impossible. People are looking for other means, other blockchains that they could contribute to. And in a sense, we cannot be mad, because this is kind of a decentralization in a way.
What do you say, Tom?
Well, no, you're not mad. That's why I go on these channels to try and educate people. But to something that Rahul said, I challenge the fact that there's a decentral way to own gold. I mean, this has been tried before the Bitcoin was existed. It was called e-gold, where gold was stored in a central location, and then people were given, digital representation of that gold, so you can use it on the internet. I mean, this was around back in the 90s. And the reason why it failed is because a government entity can come with their guns and take the underlying gold. And that's why the only reason why Bitcoin is decentralized is because it doesn't have an interaction in the physical world. And it was built in the wild with what I refer to as a triangle of decentralization. And that triangle is decentralization of the coding effort, decentralization of the mining effort, utilizing that code, and the decentralization of the nodes. Anyone can be a node. I'm a node, and I validate what the miners are mining to make sure they stick to the rules. This triangle does not exist in any other coin. All other coins are either centrally developed, and if they don't have mining, then they're not decentralized at all. I know Ethereum and other projects like Proof of Stake want to claim that they're decentralized because they have the most number of nodes. But if they're missing an entire third of a decentralization triangle, you can't really be decentralized. And in something like Ethereum, you can't run a node. A regular person like myself would really struggle to run a node. It's almost impossible. And so none of these projects have the core value of decentralization. And that's why they're able to do things quickly. And the reason why many projects in the altcoin space are considered scams and some are not is because the ones that are not considered scams yet have a big advertising budget, and they're able to convince people that they're not. But eventually, people will stop believing in that monopoly money, and that's when you see that the emperor has no clothes.
But I think
sorry to interrupt.
Justas. Yeah, go ahead.
The question right now is the mass adoption and when will it come? Wouldn't you say, Tone, that this decentralization, complete decentralization, is stagnating that mass adoption?
No, I wouldn't say that. And that's what Rahul said as well about Bitcoin is leaving the exchanges, because Bitcoin goes through these cycles of, oh, wow, it's going up, I need to hoard it. And then people become wealthier by hoarding Bitcoin. And then eventually, you're going to want to buy a nicer car. Eventually, you're going to want to buy something because you have just become wealthier. So Bitcoin goes through these the cycles of hoarding and spending. It really does create this mentality of low time preference, as Saifedean gracefully explained in the book, The Bitcoin Standard. And right now, we're in a phase where people want to hoard as much Bitcoin as they can, because they know that in a year or two, when their wealth in Bitcoin doubles or triples, they are ready to spend it. And within the next year, Lightning is going to be a lot more easier and user-friendly. And right now, Bitcoin isn't necessary for micropayments, but they will be ready when they need to be ready. And right now, there's just no need to spend your Bitcoin on a cup of coffee. Right now, it's more important to protect your wealth with the current wave of socialism and communism that's sweeping the nation, including the United States.
Well, I think that a lot of all the other alternative currencies, their goal is to get at some point to be totally decentralized. I mean, that's what they state in their white paper, of course. I don't know how many of them are serious about getting there, but they do have that goal of being decentralized eventually, ultimately.
Real quick, but that's not how it works. You can't just create decentralization. Decentralization happens. It really is like an immaculate conception. What made Bitcoin decentralized is the fact that no one was trying to do it. It kind of just happened on its own. It was released into the wild. Any individual that says we are building this decentralized thing, when Binance says we are building a decentralized exchange, it's complete and utter bullshit. They can't. That's not how decentralization works.
JD, what's your take on this?
I'm sorry.
Yes,
I got lost in work. We're talking about decentralization.
We're talking about Bitcoin
and
everything else, and of course, decentralization.
I don't know. I think I love. Shoot, my Wi-Fi is all of a sudden this conference being horrible. I just did an interview the other night on panel. Is this better now? I'm sorry, I'm having the worst Wi-Fi all of a sudden. Do you guys hear me?
I think you're good now. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I think decentralization is great for certain things, and then I think for other things they'll just never work, right? I think in a perfect world, I would like to dream of this utopia where, hence why my company is called AnRKey, right? Because Satoshi was an anarchist. It was built off of that to rebel, a digital rebellion against, basically centralized systems. Will that ever be possible? Who knows, right? 1,000 years, 500, 200 years was something that powerful. But yeah, I mean, again, what Tone said when he was bashing Ripple, centralized, right? Of course, it works that way. When you go into pure decentralized, that's when you really, truly right now hit the hardest scalability problems, right? Again with that. So there's going to be, I think, a balance of both of them moving forward. There's not going to be a one size fits all, I think. Obviously, we all want decentralization, right? Because what happens with, the basis of blockchain, with the transfer of value, right, that the Internet 2 didn't solve, what the Internet 2.0 did was it created a whole economy for middlemen, right, of intermediaries. I mean, think of the trillions of dollars ran through SWIFT, transfer agents, all this stuff that was needed to transfer value. It was great for an economic boost, and then it became a unfair market with market manipulation, right? So we want that, of course, but then how do you run systems that are purely decentralized? At the same time, we're going to have just like with batteries that are limiting, right, our technology advancement, because the batteries aren't actually at the same level of our advancement. I think it's going to be a technology thing with decentralization holding us back too, because the power of computers, right, and the networks and all the people that need to crack the consensus and all that stuff like that on pure decentralized systems. So, and then you have JP Morgan, right? And there you go. There's going to be this power struggle, right, with what they did, right? Obviously, bash on it, this and that, and then out of the blue, hey, we're ready to go with our own token. They don't tell anyone this shit, right? Pure gangster. If you thought fucking gangsters were gangsters, sorry. Our governments are the biggest gangsters out there. Our pharmaceuticals are the biggest drug dealers out there. They make the cartels look like idiots. You know what I mean? That's the world we live in. So, I don't go too far into this, so I just live in my own little world and I make my own little utopia, right? Because I think it's safer for my brain, right?
So what, I suppose you don't have a really positive view of CBDCs right now that are.
Was that actually what the topic was, and I went somewhere else?
Oh, no.
I have been known to do that before. No, I do have a positive thing, but guess what? who's controlling the central bank digital currency? Who is controlling this shit?
The government.
Real. The governments are.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone could jump on the high horse of blockchain and all this stuff, but when it really comes down to it, what did JP Morgan do? What is Facebook trying to do? What did China just do? And that was a gangster move that China just did for the Americans, for America, to depeg from the dollar. That's straight gangster stuff. So, I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. What we're going to have is a benefit of speed and access on payments and transparency, but is it going to beat the big guys, right? Is it going to beat the centralized people who manipulate the market? I don't believe so. I don't, because they will not completely make everything public. I don't believe that they ever will. If they will, then I'm going to roll over my grave but the purpose of these centralized systems is market manipulation. That is the goddamn truth.
Right. Well, the CBDCs are definitely not. I don't foresee them going the decentralized route anytime soon, or even in the future. I think that this is like the government's version of cryptocurrencies that they can control. I think that's
exactly.
Yes, but I suppose the fact that they introduce something like that, gives us more. I would say gives cryptocurrencies more PR because the common man, they're just not like many. I mean, of course, now more and more people are getting they're wising up to what's happening in the crypto scene. But I would say that we're still away. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look at it. Like, I think we're gonna have. It's not. Again, sometimes I just talk a lot of ish because that's just the type of person I am. But I think we are going to have areas that there will be obviously benefits when some of these other payments really take off and get maybe a more mass adoption user base for remittance, right? There'll be this. But if you think the governments, right, and the central banks around the world and the private the private equity and the investment banks are going to do zero fees, that's not going to happen, because that's what blockchain does. It wipes out trillions of dollars. It'll wipe out a whole economy.
It knocks out all the middlemen in between.
Yeah,
completely.
Why do you think that this digital securities market has done absolutely zero?
Yeah.
Perfect example. I started in that industry a little bit, and I got out quick once I saw the bullshit that I kind of knew was going to happen. And once I saw Harbor adapt, and then a month later they sold, I was like, yep, those are some of the most smartest. They were co-founded and invested by some of the PayPal dudes. Those are the smartest people, and even they had the insight to be like, F this shit. We're not even going to try to do this. I give it up for all the digital securities people still trying right now. To me, it's a joke. Why even go down that path?
Really quick on the CBDC stuff. Like you see, like Libra changed its name to like DM or something, and people are just like, I think Facebook, and they're like the largest, most widely used application in the world, and then Visa is now using, I guess they're porting into USDC for payments. I don't know how real it is. I heard that, but like, CBDCs, even in India, part of the reason why Bitcoin was, in a sense, banned in India, the banking sector was, ZebPa had to leave India for almost 2 years because of regulations, right? And it's because a lot of, let's say, regulators and politicians are saying, hey, we want to keep the option open on creating a digital rupee. But like, it's going to be so hard because all these different nation states across the world are going to be fighting to make their currency the standard. And that's why the Bitcoin standard is the best standard, right? It is the most global, it's the payment, mechanism and store of value that's going to dethrone the dollar.
I think, I mean, I think we're all in agreement on that. I think Bitcoin is the king, but whether or not there should be other alternative currencies, well, I guess, we all have our different opinions. I'm moving on actually to DeFi, because I realize actually time is running out and we have not talked about DeFi at all. What's your take on that? Let's start with you, Rahul.
So we are some of our most popular coins listed, and Tony make it's Chainlink, which is an Oracle, right? And then also Uniswap, and so we are definitely seeing a lot of demand among DeFi. People are are, let's say, farming, Uniswap or Compound and coming on our exchange and selling it, and maybe they're buying, Bitcoin and taking off. But like we are seeing a ton of interest into DeFi. I actually do think it's a real trend.
It totally is.
Yeah,
Like
and our Ethereum balances are going up. Like as I said, what's interesting is our Bitcoin balances are going down, but our Ethereum balances are going up. So people are trying to, figure out ways of moving their, of getting interest or, borrowing money, all these things. And ZebPa is seeing it straight hand. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely one of the big, huge trends in 2020 DeFi.
Yeah.
I think it surpassed 15 billion according to CoinGecko.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. The trading volume on our DeFi tokens are larger than Bitcoin now. People are basically holding Bitcoin, and they're basically trading a lot of the DeFi tokens. There's a lot more volatility there. So. Okay.
Well, anyone want to jump in on this? Justas?
Actually, I just actually want to hear what Tony has to say about this. I can't wait.
I mean, it's the ICO stupid bubble all over again by a different name. It's there's like Rahul just said, the only use for any of this DeFi stuff is trading. There's no such thing as free money. These companies are not doing anything innovative. All of these loaning schemes, they're around in a traditional banking system. This DeFi stuff pretends to be decentralized. It's not. It's just another speculative bubble. I really thought that after the ICO bubble, I had presentations even in 2017 days that compared the ICO bubble to the .com bubble. And I did not think people would fall for this again within 3 years with the DeFi bubble. It's like, okay, we realize all of these .coms are totally useless, and we're speculating on the fact that it has a .com. But if you change the .com to an IO, if it's mynonsense.io instead of mynonsense.com, all of a sudden something new and innovative. It's completely ridiculous. Yield farming has absolutely no use case whatsoever. And some people will get rich and most people will go broke trying to buy into this nonsense.
Tone, how do you really feel?
No, so what's interesting is that they do feed off each other. In the 2017 run up, Bitcoin went through the roof, but then you do have these speculators who are trying to find new ways of becoming a millionaire overnight. So a little chicken and the egg in the sense that Bitcoin does lead the way, but when people are looking to become rich overnight, it like sucks in all these other people, right? I disagree a little bit in the sense that there is some value here because the way the reason why I bring this up is Bitcoin is not going to be the king forever. Nothing is. Money is technology, right? And so what will happen, whether it's 100 years or 500 years or 10,000 years, Bitcoin's going to be out innovated in some way, right? And so what's really cool is, when I don't think it's going to happen in the near future, but someone will eventually create a better form of value than Bitcoin. And what the thing is, it's a test, man. Go out there and rumble with the king. If you can feel like you can build something, I don't think anybody will in the near future. Then hats to you, right?
Look, no, I agree. Look, it evolves, and look how long it took for Bitcoin to be created since the internet. And if you review emails from the early 2000s of people that are currently in our space that were trying to build Bitcoin in early 2000, and they just couldn't find the missing piece. And Satoshi found the missing piece, which people have given up. And they looked at it as skeptical, like, no, he's not going to solve this. We've all tried and we couldn't do it. And he did solve it. And it's a once in a generational thing. And it's not going to get dethroned anytime soon. Look at the internet itself. Everyone knows the internet isn't perfect. Look how censored it is. The creators of the internet, they knew that they should have, took their time and created more privacy inside the internet by default, but they didn't. And internet can still be blocked by countries. It's not perfect, but it's what we have. And how do you dethrone the internet? I
see it. It's maybe two models. See, just because Bitcoin does win, if you look at the large cap companies, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, you know, I don't know which one's the biggest. Maybe Apple's the biggest. There are gonna be challengers, and Ether is not. I don't think Ethereum is a challenger to Bitcoin. But what's really cool is that there will be a second place and third place and fourth place. I think the winner gets 70-80% market share.
All right, but here's my point. Google and Apple, they're companies utilizing the internet. Everyone's agreed that internet's the standard, and now you're building companies to help internet be more useful. Bitcoin is that standard, and everything else.
That's what I'm saying. So if you go look at like Wrap Bitcoin, so what's really cool is Wrap Bitcoin is on Ethereum, and so is our Bitcoin. Bitcoin lives. There's no Ether that lives on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? Because that's stupid. But what's awesome is Bitcoin is that standard, and then the way you get scalability is, it's cheaper to send Bitcoin on the Ethereum network than it is on the Bitcoin network. So you can kind of like Bitcoin is where you keep your money, but if you want to send it some ways, there can be 10 ways.
Guys, you know, this is getting really interesting, but I'm getting all these private messages like I gotta wrap this up. No, what, you know, Tony, why don't you just give me couple of sentences.
Sure.
Give me some kind of conclusion. Yeah.
I'll conclude with Wrap Bitcoin. Wrap Bitcoin is cheaper on Ethereum, but it comes with the risk of your Bitcoin getting hacked a lot easier. So cheaper doesn't mean better. Look, guys, please understand what Bitcoin is, why it was invented, and that should give you a good foundation as to the understanding what is decentralized technology. I just described Bitcoin with one sentence. It is unconfiscatable, censorship-resistant store of value. Look into each of those words, and then you understand where the innovation actually is, and everything else is just a company trying to build alongside Bitcoin.
Got it. Thank you so much, Tom. Justas?
Yeah, I think in order for us to get the adoption, we've been asking for the last 10 years, what can Bitcoin do for us? We should ask, what can we do for Bitcoin, and be the participants not only by holding Bitcoin, but participating in our respective fields, as professionals, maybe from the media side, maybe as developers, maybe as traders. But I think that this is a very interesting period of time, and it would be fascinating to be looking at this 5 years from now and seeing where this leads.
Great, thank you, Justas. And JD, let's hear from you. JD, are you still?
Yeah, sorry, the internet cut out. What was the question? I'm sorry, the internet cut out.
No. Just some kind of a 2-3 sentence conclusion, because we're running out of time. Anything that you want the viewers to
conclusion
know about?
On like my existence to life. What's the purpose? What should I do?
Anything about the mass adoption of?
I think it's a great session. I think DeFi is very interesting.
JD, I think your connection's gone bad or something. JD, actually, Rahul, can you actually just jump in right now and let's have.
Sure. No, yeah. So I found out with Bitcoin in 2011. If I could do one thing and only one thing back then, it's a very simple nudge. I wish I'd put like $1 per day every single day into Bitcoin when I found out about it, right? And so the point there is, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. So my biggest advice to everyone is, listen, just put in India 100 rupees, which is about $1.50. Put 100 rupees every single day into Bitcoin, and that will massively change your life over the next 10, 20, 30 years. And that's how I think the emerging middle class of the world, that's how people escape poverty. I think it's going to solve so many things in the long run.
Yeah, excellent. JD, are you still there? Are you able to? JD?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry, we had to cut in because we couldn't get you just now. Okay, why don't you wrap things up for us?
I did before. That wasn't good enough.
Oh, the thing is, it got cut off. I think the connection was bad. Yeah, maybe you could repeat what you said just now.
I think my voice is out.
He said to buy some Bitcoin.
Buy some
Buy
Bitcoin.
some Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually,
cool. Excellent.
actually, my company's listing. We're listing on BitDumb on Friday the 18th. So buy our ANRX.
Okay,
$
cool.
ANRX. So I'll do that plug. That's how I'll wrap it up.
All right,
Thank you,
cool.
guys. This was fun.
All right, thank you so much, guys. You have been an awesome panel. Bhavana, you want to take it away?
Sure, yes, perfect. I just wanted to know if, Tony, you'd like to say anything towards the end, or is that okay, Tony? I've been seeing you trying to say something. Are you trying to say something?
No, I already did. I
Okay.
had my closing statements. I'm fine.
Yeah, no, because I would see you really keenly looking, so I thought you had something to say. But nevertheless,
Just messages are coming in, so it's
okay.
no, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Cecilia, thank you so much for moderating it so wonderfully. Thank you, JD. Thank you, Justas. Thank you, Rahul. And thank you so much, Tony, for joining us and being a part of the World Blockchain Summit.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very much.
Sorry about my
Thank you.
Wi-Fi. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, everyone.
Pleasure. Thanks.